Good morning and welcome to the show with no name. It's the day before Thanksgiving. What are we up to, the 26th? November 26, 2014. I'm Bob Going with Gavin Murdoch and Jim Nicosia and our special guest, contributing editor, teen historian Phillip Tambasco, who finally got a day off from school. You guys, you let him off school today?
Special for the show.
Oh, okay.
We had to give everybody a day off to get him here.
Really? I thought there was a half day today, and he was just skipping.
No
school at all.
No. In fact, he even got out about 15 minutes early yesterday.
I did.
Why is that?
They have their emergency evacuation drill.
Emergency evacuation drill, and then everybody went home?
Everybody goes home from there. Yeah. Because you can't get back into school after that.
What was? It was just a drill, so there was no actual emergency.
No, just
what emergency were you pretending, or didn't it matter?
It didn't matter.
So the fire trucks didn't show up, or anything?
Fire trucks didn't show up. Sheriff didn't show up.
Really?
No, evacuation didn't show up. Nothing. It's
so wait a
minute. Drill.
So what kind of a drill is this if nobody shows up?
Yeah.
It's a drill to see how fast you can get out of school.
If it's the end of the
Safely.
day and they get to go home, I bet it's pretty darn fast.
Actually, some days it is faster. All school districts in the state have to do this once a year.
All right, couple of announcements. The library is closing at noon today and will be closed tomorrow. Well, I would hope they'd be closed tomorrow, for crying out loud. Those people work hard enough; they ought to get at least one holiday off, right? The Mount Carmel Church was going to have a vigil mass for Thanksgiving tonight at 7. That has been canceled also due to the snow. I'm glad I read that because the wife and I were planning on going to that. Okay. So the troops are beginning to descend. Louisa showed up last night. She decided
Did you know that? She's coming early?
Well, she decided because of the weather, and of course she had to cross the Berkshires and everything else. Better to do it ahead of time.
Correct.
So she showed up, about 11 o'clock last night. And she didn't have the day off, though. She's still working.
Well, she got a laptop?
Yeah, she does. And like this morning, of course, I don't know what time it was. It was like 8 o'clock. She was on having a conference call with Ukraine, with her counterparts over there on some project she's working on.
She speaks Ukrainian?
I asked her that, and I think the answer is no.
Oh, they speak English.
She did indicate that everybody spoke English. Yeah. Then I think she was on, I don't know, she had another project with General Electric or something. So,
Can't get away from work anymore.
No, but it's a neat kind of job, isn't it? Where you can, stay in your pajamas and hop in the queen size bed, and I think she used her own phone. I hope to God she wasn't charging it to my line. I believe she did, yeah. Anyway, so the rest are coming, I guess, sooner or later. We had a call already?
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's not. They haven't cleared it yet. 843-2500 is the number. Phillip, you had. All right, we'll take the call. Then I got a question for you. Okay. This is WCSS. You're on the air.
Okay, just give me a weather report. Up here on Robb Road in the town of Amsterdam, off the Swore Hill Road, the snow has begun. Get ready.
Wow. Well, I don't know. I heard that on the last show coming in. There was a rumor the snow had begun, and there was no snow. I drove in.
No.
So I think you're.
No, the flakes are coming down. It's coming from the east, and I'm east of y'all.
You are east
So have
of
fun
us.
with it.
Did you guys see snow coming in?
No.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right. Well, there's your weather report. The snow has begun.
Hit that switch so I can hear the.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, all right. So, Phillip, here's the thing. You asked a question a couple of days ago about who remembers Wilbur H. Lynch. Well, hardly anybody remembers the real Wilbur H. Lynch.
Why is that?
There are a few people. Well, because he's
Dead a long time.
been dead a long time. Yes. You might read.
Well, that doesn't mean
you could
anything.
read. What?
That doesn't mean anything.
No. There are people. There are people who are old enough to remember him, but they're getting up there now too. When was he superintendent of schools? I think he was gone by the time they named the school after him.
Yeah.
I think he had already retired, so they named the high school after him. And that was like 1934, right?
Yeah, it was early 30s.
Yeah. So he may have hired my wife's aunt, who lived to be 101 or 100 or something like that, in 1932. He might have still been around when.
Was he also a mayor? Yeah.
Well, I was going to get to that. Yeah, this is he's an interesting guy. We once had a battle to find out what his middle name was. We knew what the H stood for. It wasn't a battle, but no one seemed to know. So our city historian Jimmy Marks was just fascinated by the subject. And another thing, I have a piece of stationery that belonged to him when he was mayor. It was inside some book or file or something. It's just a plain piece of stationery with Wilbur H. Lynch, mayor city of Amsterdam on it.
What was his middle name?
It was Henry.
Henry?
Yeah. But it took a long time to find that out because he didn't come from here, so they had to track down his. It was exceptionally complicated for such a silly question.
Uh-huh.
I sprung it on our current superintendent one time, asking him about that.
Did he know it?
He did. He
did
did know the answer. Yeah.
That's very
Should've
good.
just asked him first.
See?
Yeah. Wilbur H. Lynch. So so he's long retired when Mayor Carter goes off to war.
That'd be World War II.
World War II in 1943. It could have been either because Carter was in both wars, but World War I and World War II. But he was only mayor during World War II. So, but Art Carter had been mayor for about 10 years in 1943, and the legislature passed a law which said that existing elected officials, if they went into service, could keep their title. And if the war got over or if they got kicked out, they could go back to the job. Mm-hmm. So anybody who was in there would be able to get the job back if so this caused all kinds of problems.
Yeah, I think it would.
Because then the issue becomes who becomes acting mayor in his absence. And the Common Council was 4 Republicans and 4 Democrats at the time. All right?
8 wards.
All right. So this all comes down to his last day on the job. The story's in my book, I think, in a footnote. It's Carter's last day on the job, and he shows up in his captain's uniform to preside over the Common Council meeting and bid his farewell to the city of Amsterdam and the Common Council. And the whole meeting is taken up with this knockdown, drag-out battle over who succeeds him. Well, the Republicans nominate Wilbur Lynch, I believe. The Democrats are split 2 and 2. One group wants John Klobakowski, who's also one of the sitting aldermen, and the other 2 want Tom Tighe, who was, I think, the city clerk at the time. So the Democrats are divided.
Was he postmaster?
He later became postmaster, yeah. The Democrats are divided, and the Republicans are solid, but part of the law was that you could only be replaced by somebody of the same party. So Carter was a Democrat. So now you got 4 Republicans who don't have a candidate, thanks to the ruling of the Corporation Council, who happened to have been correct.
They were still controversial back then.
But it was still controversial. The Governor Thomas E. Dewey had already given a ruling on this through his counsel, who was, what was his name? Later became Chief Judge of the Court of Appeals. Lewis something. Anyway. So they battle it out, and then they both parties call caucuses, and it ends up They all end up screaming at each other, and there's a motion to adjourn, and the 4 Republicans and 2 Democrats vote to adjourn, and it's all over. And Carter is left there, sitting there in his uniform, not knowing what's going on. There's no have a good time serving our country, right? Because the 2 Democrats who were supporting Klobakowski were mad at him for not supporting Klobakowski, and Klobakowski would have been the first Polish mayor of the city of Amsterdam, sort of, except
That didn't work
now
out.
the kick is Klobakowski, because he was vice president of the Common Council, actually served as acting mayor anyway, even though for the rest of the year the 2 parties could not come to an agreement over, or the 3 parties could not come to an agreement over who would be acting mayor. He got to be acting mayor anyway. Now, years later, John Gomulka is actually elected the first Polish mayor of the city of Amsterdam, right? And serves 12 years. In City Hall, near the staircase, is a brass plaque with the name, or plaque with brass pieces on it, giving the names and years of each of the mayors of the city of Amsterdam. When Gomulka was mayor, Klobakowski got slipped in. So he's now listed as officially the mayor of the city of Amsterdam, even though he really wasn't, but he acted as mayor long enough that it was. So anyway, so now the Democrats have a primary that fall, and they're split apart, and for the first time in over a decade, a Republican gets elected mayor of the city of Amsterdam, and it's Wilbur H. Lynch, who was ancient at the time. Yeah. So that's Wilbur H. Lynch, Mayor Wilbur H. Lynch.
Yeah.
And he was a great mayor. Okay. This is WCSS. You're on the air. Hello? Hello? This is WCSS. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, gentlemen, and happy Thanksgiving to you.
Thank you.
Hey, I got to ask you a question. I got to tell you a little story. In New York State, when we insure our automobiles, they take, I believe it is $10 for each vehicle for auto theft.
Yeah.
All right. Now, there was an automobile that was stolen the other day from here in Amsterdam. They ended up arresting the kid in Ohio. They got pulled over for speeding, and I guess he was drunk behind the wheel. So they recovered the gentleman's automobile. How rough of a ride it took going down there, I have no idea. Now, the New York State Police or Montgomery County will not go down and pick the gentleman up and bring him back and prosecute him. So they let him go. So now he's out on bail. So they did a little research onto him, the people that lost their automobile. They found out on his way to New York State, because I believe he came from California, but he's got roots here in upstate New York. On his way up here, he robbed an automobile in Indiana. He got arrested up here in New York State with the automobile, and they would not, from Indiana, come to New York State and then, press charges against him for auto theft. So now he robbed the vehicle coming up, robbed the vehicle going down, and from what I understand, on his way out of the police station down there, he says, now I got to find another vehicle so I can get to California. Now, we pay this $10 for the insurance company, you know what I mean? So that's millions of dollars that they're collecting for whatever organization is supposed to be set up to stop auto theft. Don't you think that they would be going and getting these people and prosecuting them for auto theft before somebody ends up getting killed with a person like this behind the wheel or something?
Well, it certainly would seem to me that that there's a flaw in the system somewhere. On the other hand, this guy is rapidly running out of states that he can they go to where there's not a warrant for his arrest already. So,
well, that's it.
Yeah. So I don't know what the end, but I can sense your frustration here, and I would think that the people who lost their cars would be sensing even more frustration. Of course, they'll get paid by their insurance companies, but still.
No, because he made the mistake of leaving the keys in the car. So he doesn't get anything. He doesn't get anything at all, but it was parked in his driveway.
Oh, my God.
But that was his thing was they don't get paid anything, so he had to supply his own transportation to Ohio to pick up his automobile and hope it still runs and everything else. And if he owes money onto it, he's still got to pay the money onto it. But he has to do that. But the thing I'm trying to get at is that why are they charging us, this organization is charging us on our insurance $10 to stop auto theft if they're not going to go after and prosecute these people and pick these people up and bring them back and say, look, you can't steal a car from New York State. We're going to come and get you. We're going to prosecute you.
I don't understand. It seems to me that would rise to the level where I would extradite. But you know how it is. It probably becomes a charge against the county. It would probably be a charge against Montgomery County if anybody had to go get them. So that's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. We pay taxes for these services too.
Well, we pay an extra one on our insurance. You pay an extra one. I pay an extra one. Anybody that's got multiple vehicles pays, more. Because when you insure, it says mandated from New York State that you have to pay this $10 or $5 per vehicle that is insured for auto theft. I was just curious where this money actually is going to.
Well, I'm sure there's any number of bureaucrats who are well paid to administer this program and the collection of the money.
Those lobbyists are expensive.
Yeah, but I just thought you'd get a kick out of that. Now I think he's working on his third or fourth vehicle before he ends up back in California for Thanksgiving. But I just, let people know in the surrounding area there is car thieves out there. I guess we've had quite a few of them stolen in the city of Amsterdam. So make sure you take your keys out because you're not covered.
I used to be city court judge, and I used to run into a lot of interesting people, including people who were just passing through with careers like this. And some of them were absolutely incredible. I always enjoyed the company of criminals because they were always fascinating people, and usually it mention no harm. There are a few wackos out there, but mostly they're just thieves and such. And I remember one guy, I had a guy passing through, and he was charged with writing a bad check, and he was in jail overnight, and they brought him in front of me, and he asked to have a court-appointed attorney. So in those days, we had a form they had to fill out. So I would look at it and ask him a few questions to determine whether he was eligible to have a court-appointed attorney. Then I'd appoint somebody. So, page 1 says, are you currently employed? No. When were you last employed? 7 years ago. Do you own any real property in this or any other state? No. Do you own an automobile? No. Do you have any bank accounts? No. All this stuff. The final question was, how do you support yourself?
He didn't write that, did he?
He wrote down, I write bad checks. Sworn to under oath before the judge. And I said, there's an honest man, sort of.
Well, another good part of this story too is that I don't know if he robbed the house or whatever he did, but he ended up getting a credit card, and he was using this poor girl's credit card to fuel up his automobile and buy his meals and his beer. So he was using a stolen credit card too. So.
Well, at least he wasn't on welfare.
No, that's it. That's it. So,
or actually, he probably wasn't about 12 states.
With that.
All right. Okay, thank you.
All right, bye. Yeah.
I wonder if he was smart enough to upgrade his cars every time he stole.
That's right.
Upgrade? Yeah, sure, why not?
Better model?
Yeah, the better ones do pick the make and model they want to steal. This is WCSS, you're on the air.
Yeah, very quickly, that $10 collected by the insurance company goes in whole to the state police.
WCSS.
And I wonder what they do with it.
Okay, hold on.
Well, I don't know. They buy cars that go real fast on the thruway.
Don't steal a slow car.
I questioned my insurance company. They did some research, and that's what they found. And I believe it's $35 million.
Wow.
So they ought to be able to hire.
But that's not a tax. It's just a fee, right? That's not a tax.
Yeah. That's different.
It's another fee.
Yeah. We're doing that
have
with
a happy Thanksgiving.
Well, thank you. You too.
Another one.
This is WCSS. You're on the air. Hello. Are you there?
Morning, Bob and Jim. How you doing?
Hey, Polly. Hey, listen, Polly. I got your Thanksgiving card. I want to thank you very much. It was beautiful, and it was very nice of you to think of us.
Yes.
I heard you're going to have a white Thanksgiving up there, huh?
The snow has started to fall, our outside sources tell us.
But there's not a cloud down here in the sky. The sun is up nice and bright. It's about 50. Well,
I hear there's some tornadoes heading your way.
I don't see them coming.
You never do.
I'm going to have to go hide.
That's the one.
I'm going to have to go hide down to one of the grocery stores. I'm looking for these turkeys out here in the woods, but I don't see none. I don't have to see how it went. Really, there used to be 6 of them walking around here.
They know when to hide.
Well, they got to be someplace.
You're on somebody's table.
So I just wish you guys a nice holiday. If I don't, well, I'll probably talk to you before Christmas time. I would imagine so.
All right, thank you, Paul. Next time you're up here, drop by. We'll have some leftover turkey and stuffing for you.
I won't beat you after the first of the year, but I'm not going to say why. It's better that way. Okay.
Okay, Paul. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.
You guys got cards too?
No, I didn't get a card.
You didn't get a card?
I didn't get a card.
I got a card.
I'm pretty sure I got a card.
Yeah, I got a card. Philip, did you get a card?
I didn't get a card.
No. Hey, so Philip, you're in the school band, aren't you?
Yeah.
What do you play?
Trumpet.
Yeah. Oh, that's a tough instrument. All right. It's Mr. Perry is very fond of the trumpet. He's a trumpet player himself.
Yes, he is.
He's a terrific trumpet player, in fact.
What's so difficult about trumpet?
Trumpets, you got to use the think system with the trumpet. With the piano, you hit this note, it's going to be that note every time. With the trumpet, you got to use the think system. You got to think the note you're going to play, and then it comes out.
You're a thinker, right?
So you have to think fast.
Yeah.
You got to think fast.
I guess so.
Yeah. So did you march in that icy parade last Saturday?
Yeah, I did.
That must have been pretty miserable, wasn't it?
Well, it wasn't as bad as last year. Last year it snowed and we couldn't see our music.
Oh,
That
wow.
was a little
Don't
bad.
you have your music memorized?
I guess so, but we were doing moves throughout the song, and then you had to watch the music to know where the moves were.
Oh,
It got a little difficult.
right before I came, I checked out the prize list down in Schenectady from the parade. Neither you nor I are on that prize list. Yeah. Schenectady band got the prize this year.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow, big surprise.
Home job. Yeah.
Well, okay. So you involved in this Light Up the Sky program, or what?
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
It starts December 3rd, I think, and it goes through the 23rd, and you just go to 154 Brookside Ave, and it's like a light show. You drive through,
Yeah.
and there's tons of lights and displays, and
Just random lights.
no, they're all on trees, and then there's displays, and there's all lights, and there's characters there that they dance if you honk, and
Oh yeah.
then you get a free candy cane.
Wow. Well, is the price of admission still $5 a car?
Yep.
Well,
That's
I
a
can't
good
go
deal.
wrong. It's a great show, and it gets better every year.
Yeah.
And the Selberts are pretty amazing that they continue to. Their daughter's been out of school for about 10 years now, and they still
do it.
Make their property available.
Yeah.
And you drive through from Brookside out and come out on the Market Street side.
Imagine their electric bill.
Imagine. Well, I think it's all done on generators, isn't it?
I don't know.
I hope so.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I don't know. I don't think I ever worked that. I've certainly been through it just about every year, probably every year since they've had it. It's a good show.
Yeah.
Good show. So you got to do something, right? You have to put lights up or anything, or
Yeah, we have a thing called Rams Day in October, which where all the kids that want to from the marching band come and they hook up the trees.
wow. So that's already been done.
Yeah, that's been done. For
Will you also be performing as a character?
Are you a dancer?
I try not to.
Well, you
Don't want to embarrass yourself. I understand.
I like handing out the candy canes.
Oh.
That's fun.
People are happy with that. All right.
This is WCSS. You're on the air.
I don't mean to take away your conversation, but I got two questions. You're a World War II buff, like I am. I watch the History Channel and all those other ones. Two questions. How did Switzerland stay out of the war when everybody else the war was raging around them?
What's the other question?
The other question, you can't answer that one, huh?
No, I can answer it. I just want to do them both together.
Oh, okay. And the other one, there was a movie on Flight to Marseille with Humphrey Bogart. Did the United States loan France B-17s, or was that fictional?
I think that I don't know. That one I don't know. Of course, France did not get into the war till after D-Day, when we kind of took over the country, and then all of a sudden they got back in the war so they could get a piece of Germany at the end of the war. I would not be. It would not surprise me that we gave them an air force to start with. That wouldn't surprise me. It would not surprise me if the Free French were flying B-17s either. That's probably likely, because we had the Polish Air Force was in exile in Britain and made regular runs.
Right.
As a matter of fact, the Poles were kind of responsible for winning the Battle of Cassino. I know my friend Leonard Brzezinski always celebrated Polish Victory in Italy Day just to annoy the Italians of descent in the class.
Yeah, every time I listen to you talk about World War II and stuff, this thing is driving me nuts.
The first question, in answer to the first question, Switzerland remained neutral because there was no requirement that anybody get involved in the war. Switzerland remained neutral. They were neutral by tradition, and they served a useful purpose for everybody, because they maintained relations with all the countries who were at war. There were back channels through Switzerland that enabled little quiet deals to be made to release prisoners and things like that, and
money.
So Switzerland's played that role for hundreds and hundreds of years. More interestingly, Spain maintained its neutrality, even though they had been even though the Germans and the fascist Italians had come to their aid during the Spanish Civil War. Franco had no interest whatsoever in joining their side during World War II, even though he could have gotten Gibraltar back as a reward. So they maintained a delicate balance throughout the war. Spain never went to war, and so there's probably a handful of other little countries.
What about Portugal?
Portugal had a long-time alliance with Britain. Whether they formally entered the war or not, I'm not sure.
Okay, I was just curious. I'd like I said, every time I hear you talk about World War II, this thing is driving me freaking crazy. Because I know you're World War II history buff. But,
I wouldn't believe everything you see in Humphrey Bogart World War II movies, by the way.
Oh, no,
For example,
no.
As great a movie as Casablanca was, there was no such thing as letters of transit. The whole thing was just a MacGuffin to keep the plot going.
No, some of these movies are just overrated, but I mean, they're fictional, you know. I mean, you see these guys. Oh hell, I forgot which one it is. God, Tyrone Power, I think, is oh damn it, he's an individual that's in Manila and stuff like this, and everybody else is dirty but him. His uniform is all pressed.
That goes back a long ways. I remember some old Douglas Fairbanks movies where he'd dive into the water, swim 3 miles, hijack a ship, and he's bone dry on deck.
Yeah, I agree. All right, well, it's 11:29, and up here on Upper Locust it's starting to snow.
Okay, and that's a good time to remind everyone that this is WCSS 1490 on your dial in Amsterdam, New York. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, and enjoy your Thanksgiving.
You
Hope
too.
you have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Responsibility.
All right, bye-bye. This is WCSS. You're on the air. Hello? Or you're not. Okay. All right, let's see.
How many kids are in the marching band, Philip?
Maybe 140,
Maybe?
around there. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
That's more than
'than graduated in my class.
It's more than 10% of the school population.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. My son learned to play the drums so he could be in the band.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and Anna couldn't play anything, but she was a banner carrier.
Yeah.
Banner carrier.
Mish wants to play the cymbals next year.
Yeah. You remember?
That's what he was telling me.
What was that Woody Allen movie? Take the Money and Run. Where he was a cello player in the marching band and carry the chair around behind him, and every 3 or 4 steps he'd sit down, play a couple of notes, and get up, carry the cello to the next corner. Yeah, those his early funny movies. Yeah. So what's the band doing for the rest of the year? You know, kind of the marching season's over, isn't it? Or-
Yeah, now we're waiting until March, and then we have our our big trip to Virginia.
The marching band is going in March. Okay.
Well, we're going in April, but we're going to start in
What's
March.
going on in Virginia?
We're going to Norfolk. I think they're having some sort of, I want to say it's a Navy celebration parade thing.
Well, the Navy
be.
is stationed in Norfolk.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Navy is there.
Yeah.
My dad was there during the war.
So that's you go on a trip every year, Philip?
It's every other.
Every other year. And the other year, who goes on a trip?
The chorus goes on the trip
Oh.
in the opera.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yes, I do.
My son also joined the chorus.
Did he?
Yeah.
He took care of the risers?
Well, no, I mean, I think he was one of those, like in our altar boy choir, where
Yeah.
you mouth the words.
Yeah.
But he actually participated, even though he knew it looked like he was just joining to go on the trip. He was faithful to it. Yeah. Went to all the pancake breakfasts. And all that.
They're good. They got good pancakes at those.
Luis is really my only singer in the family.
Yeah.
Well, Jamie does some weird stuff, but that's I don't know, heavy metal or what it is.
What do you got there, Bob?
They're all good musicians. Oh, I got George Washington's first Thanksgiving proclamation. He proclaimed Thursday, the 26th of November. Is that today? Are we the 26th? All right.
We're
No,
Wednesday the 26th.
The very first official Thanksgiving in this country. We're not talking about the one with the Pilgrims and the Indians. We don't really know all that much about that.
That's right.
But the official holiday was proclaimed Thursday, the 26th of November, by President George Washington, 1789, which was, I believe, was that his first year in office or second year in office? Let's see. Issued the proclamation on October 3rd by the President of the United States of America. Proclamation. Whereas it is the duty of all nations to acknowledge the providence of Almighty God, to obey His will, to be grateful for His benefits, and humbly to implore His protection and favor. Paying attention, you guys that are out there now? Whereas both houses of Congress have, by their joint committee, requested me to recommend to the people of the United States a day of public thanksgiving and prayer to be observed by acknowledging with grateful hearts the many and signal favors of Almighty God, especially by affording them an opportunity peaceably to establish a form of government for their safety and happiness. Now, therefore, I do recommend and assign Thursday, the 26th of November next, to be devoted by the people of these states to the service of the great and glorious being who is the beneficent author of all the good that was, that is, or that will be, that we may then all unite in rendering unto him our sincere and humble thanks for his kind care and protection of the people of this country previous to their becoming a nation, for the signal and manifold mercies and the favor, able interpositions of his providence in the course and conclusion of the late war, for the great degree of tranquility, union, and plenty which we have since enjoyed, for the peaceable and rational manner in which we have been enabled to establish constitutions of government for our safety and happiness, and particularly the national one now lately instituted, for the civil and religious liberty with which we are blessed, and the means we have of acquiring and diffusing useful knowledge, and in general for all the great and various favors which he has been pleased to confer upon us. And also that we may then unite in most humbly offering our prayers and supplications to the great Lord and ruler of nations, and beseech him to pardon our national and other transgressions, to enable us all, whether in public or private stations, to perform our several and relative duties properly and punctually, to render our national government a blessing to all the people by constantly being a government of wise, just, and constitutional laws, discreetly and faithfully executed and obeyed, to protect and guide all sovereigns and nations, especially such as have shown kindness to us, and to bless them with good governments, peace, and concord, to promote the knowledge and practice of true religion and virtue, and the increase of science among them and us, and generally to grant unto all mankind such a degree of temporal prosperity as he alone knows to be best. Given under my hand at the city of New York, the 3rd day of October in the year of our Lord, 1789, George Washington.
Now, I'm going to go out on a limb, Bob. Washington was a believer, right?
Apparently,
Okay.
apparently it was pretty common in those days,
Okay.
as he issued this on the request of the House and the Senate. So,
Okay. That was the impression I would get from reading that. And
yeah.
he was a believer.
Nowadays, it's hard. If Thanksgiving is acknowledged in the schools at all, you would come away from it thinking that what are we? Who are we thanking? And the answer is the Indians, I guess. I don't know.
You have a fall festival.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty direct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish my wife would read that.
Well,
It would be important.
I'll give it to you.
Because it'd be good for her because he talks about punctuality in there.
Wait a minute. Yeah. Like she's the only one who needs to be punctual.
Well, in my life, yeah.
Yeah. I like the one about the wise, just, and constitutional laws discreetly and faithfully executed. And
I get fed. On time is a relative term.
I take it Marina does not listen to this program?
She does. Today, right, dear?
She better listen today.
Yeah.
Then you're in real trouble. You might not get turkey tomorrow.
They ever read this proclamation in the schools, Phil? You ever heard this?
I've never heard it, no.
There you are. You can bring it to your social studies.
Maybe you could read it to the school board next meeting. When's that, tonight?
No, next month.
Oh, well, that's too bad.
December. We'll have to read the Christmas proclamation then.
Wow. But that kind of, we discussed this on Monday, the Thanksgiving as a holiday didn't really catch on as such. It was a one-time shot with George Washington there.
You know when it really started to catch on?
When was that?
When Walmart started. Yeah, they're the ones who got it going.
I thought you were going to say Hallmark.
No, that's Valentine's Day. That's Valentine's Day, Hallmark.
But anyway, Lincoln started it up again, kind of informally at first. He ordered government departments closed for Thanksgiving, for Day of Thanksgiving, on November 28th, 1861. So I guess it was probably kind of
quasi-traditional.
Yeah, quasi-traditional even by that time. You know that song. You talk about global warming, over the river and through the woods.
Yeah, to grandmother's house we go.
That's a Thanksgiving song, believe it or not. Going with the sled and everything else. Snow was actually traditional for Thanksgiving in the olden days.
Yeah?
Yeah. Anyway, around about 1863, I guess, Lincoln began setting aside the last Sunday, or the last Thursday of November as Thanksgiving Day, and we talked Monday about how that was later changed during World War II,
right?
So that when Thanksgiving fell on the 29th, 28th, or 29th, that
extra day, extra week.
It was no good for the merchants because they lost a week of
Christmas shopping.
Yeah, we're fighting a war all over the world. That's why they called it World War.
Yeah,
World War 11.
Yeah, some people say.
Ever tell you that story? I told you that story, didn't I? Dutch Kirk, who was the last survivor of the Enola Gay. He just passed away a few months ago. And
You know the Enola Gay?
The Enola Gay dropped the atomic bomb on Hiroshima.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure he knows the story. The name of the ship might be, or the name of the plane might be a little lost on him. He was the last survivor, and I met him a few years ago. And he told me how he had come to speak at a school to a bunch of high school kids, and the teacher, a history teacher who had invited him, is reading from his resume and said, and this man fought in World War XI. Oh, God. Abraham Lincoln, October 3, 1863. This is also October 3rd.
But Philip also needs to know that
What?
World War I was not called World War I when it was World War I.
It wasn't called World War I for quite a while, actually.
Oh, it wasn't?
No, because they didn't know it was the first
Oh,
one.
yeah.
There's going to be more after.
When,
It
when
was-
my grandfather died, his tombstone says, veteran of World War. Yeah,
To end all wars.
yeah, those who were to end all wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make the world safe for democracy.
Went out to him back.
By the President of the United States of America, a proclamation. This is 1863. The year that is drawing towards its close has been filled with the blessings of fruitful fields and healthful skies. To these bounties, which are so constantly enjoyed that we are prone to forget the source from which they come, others have been added, which are of so extraordinary a nature that they cannot fail to penetrate and soften even the heart which is habitually insensible to the ever-watchful providence of Almighty God.
Believer,
Yeah, but he's also talking about it would even soften the hearts of,
non-believers.
yes. In the midst of a civil war of unequaled magnitude and severity, which has sometimes seemed to foreign states to invite and to provoke their aggression, peace has been preserved with all nations. Order has been maintained, the laws have been respected and obeyed, and harmony has prevailed everywhere except in the theater of military conflict. While that theater has been greatly contracted by the advancing armies and navies of the Union. Needful diversions of wealth and of strength from the fields of peaceful industry to the national defense have not arrested the plow, the shuttle, or the ship. The axe has enlarged the borders of our settlements, and the mines, as well of iron and coal as of precious metals, have yielded even more abundantly than heretofore. Population has steadily increased, notwithstanding the waste that has been made in the camp, the siege, and the battlefield. And the country, rejoicing in the consciousness of augmented strength and vigor, is permitted to expect continuance of years with large increase of freedom. No human counsel hath devised, nor hath any mortal hand worked out these great things. They are the gracious gifts of the Most High God, who, while dealing with us in anger for our sins, hath nevertheless remembered mercy. It has seemed to me fit and proper that they should be solemnly, reverently, and gratefully acknowledged as with one heart and one voice by the whole American people. I do therefore invite my fellow citizens in every part of the United States, and also those who are at sea and those who are sojourning in foreign lands, to set apart and observe the last Thursday of November next as a day of thanksgiving and praise to our beneficent Father who dwelleth in the heavens. And I recommend to them that while offering up the ascriptions justly due to him for such singular deliverances and blessings, they do also, with humble penitence for our national perverseness and disobedience, commend to his tender care all those who have become widows, orphans, mourners, or sufferers in the lamentable civil strife in which we are unavoidably engaged, and fervently implore the interposition of the Almighty hand to heal the wounds of the nation and to restore it as soon as may be consistent with the divine purposes to the full enjoyment of peace, harmony, tranquility, and union. In testimony whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the United States to be affixed done at the city of Washington, 3rd day of October, the year of our Lord, 1863, and of the independence of the United States, the 88th. By the President, Abraham Lincoln.
Why did they pick a Thursday?
Good question. Probably because Washington did.
Why?
Yeah, but why did Washington?
Yeah, why was it a Thursday?
Was it the anniversary of the adoption of the Constitution? I'll bet you it was close.
No, I think it was Martha did her shopping that day. She had.
Good question. I don't know.
I don't know.
That's good.
What do you think, Phil?
Maybe.
It sounds right.
Sound reasonable?
Yeah, I think
Right.
so.
You know who Martha was, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. All right. just check.
Oh.
It's like being in school, isn't it, Philip?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I had a day off.
Yeah. You are open to education every day.
So what's the big subject this week going to be?
Yeah. What?
Yeah, what do you got on your...
What's on the you're from Amsterdam page today?
Oh, today is Parson Ford.
Parsons Ford. Boy, we're really getting finite there.
Wow, that's when I came to Amsterdam with Parsons Ford
Yeah.
on
Matter of fact, I think.
Ann Street.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. 4 Ann Street.
How many car dealerships were in Amsterdam at the time?
I'm trying to figure that out.
Oh, okay.
I want to say, I don't know.
Well, let's see.
I want to say over 10.
Tesoro had Chevy.
That's Rose Every, JB Auto.
Yep.
We had Hosner's.
Lay's had a place on the East Main Street.
Tom Quinn took over the Parsons place,
Yes, he
right?
did.
All right. It was Quinn Parsons for a while, then I think it was just Quinn. Yeah. You remember the jingle, Smiling Tom Quinn? Come see Smiling Tom Quinn, where new and used car values begin?
No, I never.
Yeah.
I don't.
How's it go?
That was it. That's all I remember.
that's it? Oh.
Well, Patty Quinn was in my class. She was Smiling
Yeah.
Tom Quinn's daughter. Yeah. Yeah. He's still alive, I think. He's in Florida. Yeah. I believe. Yeah. Yeah.
That's where all good used car salesmen go, right, Florida?
I don't know. That's where Gary Thomas went. He went
Yeah.
to Florida after he sold his Ford place here. Let's see. Any others?
Tesoro had a.
We did Tesoro.
We did Tesoro.
We did.
Chevy, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was.
JB,
But of
Tesoro,
new cars, of course, there were nowhere near as many
Brands.
brands in those days. Yeah.
Lay's, Hosner's.
Hosner's, JB, Tesseros, Parsons, and what else? Miller's. Miller Motors. Yeah. I was going to say, where did you get your Buick? Yeah. Well, yeah. All right. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember where we got our Chevy. Tesseros was a Chevy place, right?
Yeah,
Tesoro.
yeah. That's where we got ours.
Yeah.
I don't know where we got our Hudson, though.
Oh, I know where we got. We got all our cars, the used cars, from Tony Stankless. That's where the Rockton Y. That's where we got our cars. That's right. Yeah, may have been a Parsons Ford at one time, but it was a Tony Stankless Ford when we had it. Yeah, well, all kinds of used car dealers.
Yeah, there were.
What the heck did how did the big manufacturer dealerships survive World War II when no cars were being made?
I don't know how they did.
Maybe they were selling Jeeps. I don't know.
No.
No, Chrysler sold a Jeep, didn't he?
Well, eventually.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, that about does it for Parsons. What else you got up your sleeve here?
That's. I don't know.
Do you know from day to day? Do you have 2 or 3 in advance, or you just wake up in the morning and take out your old city directory,
It depends.
or call your grandmother up?
No, now I recently got a map that somebody drew of downtown with all the stores. Maybe 40s and 50s, I want to say.
Oh yeah. I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, I got that.
I think I dated that map because it was. I know. I don't mean I went out. Otherwise, you would have dated.
That's why I would have had I would have had it afterwards.
No, but that had the hole for the Tryon. That map is the one that has the hole where the Tryon Theater came, so we knew it had to been between the time when the Cassidy block burned down and the Tryon Theater was built. That's how we dated it.
What question that you've asked has had the most participation from the community?
The one, maybe it was about a week ago, maybe a little longer. It's still going on. Your favorite place.
Your favorite place?
Yeah.
That's still going on.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I finally answered that last.
Did you?
Yeah. Herx, where everybody knows your name.
Herx.
Yeah. All right. A lot of people. I wanted to go with something that's still open, but a lot of people named like Lanzie's on Union Street, which is a great place.
Yeah.
Places like that, but the ones that are still there. I used to. I don't know. I had a very brief bar hopping career. Once you get married, that don't happen no more. Kojel's was a great place. Freddie Kojel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the same crowd every night.
And in the same spot at the bar.
I can see Harry Medwood over. He was on the short end of the bar with his back to back to Grand Street, and usually sitting next to him was Uncle Si.
Yeah.
And actually, the later owner. See, now I get your grandmother interested. Now we're talking
about bars.
We're talking bars, and all of a sudden I see Maggie popped her head up. Slick Bubniak, who later owned the place. He bought it from Freddie when Freddie retired, or his estate when Freddie died. I forget how that worked. But
I used to bartend at Skiba's, and you didn't need a clock in there because you had the regulars come in at the same time in the same seat. And if somebody new was there and they're in the wrong seat, boy, did they get the stink eye.
Right.
You better be sitting someplace else because you aren't here every night.
Right.
Yeah, Harry used to come in there. Chipper used to come in, and the Amsterdam PD used to come in after second shift and visit. Butkus used to come in. Nisgata, Iwanski, they all stop by and have a chance to debrief after their shifts.
Wow. Rich is still debriefing. You listening, Rich?
We used to do that at Shorty's also after hours.
Oh, Shorty's was a regular cop hangout.
Yeah.
Well, as a matter of fact, they when John Sampone owned the place, I think he left the key at the police station, and if if they did a late night raid, they just opened the place up afterwards, and he'd sometimes come in and serve. But it was great.
Yeah.
I could be confused about that. That's not quite the story. No, John had the key to Pep's Bakery.
Oh,
that's what it was. So when they had a raid or a drug raid or something, they wanted to celebrate. They called John up. John had opened his place up, and he'd run over to Pep's to get a couple loaves of bread to make sandwiches. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, that's the way it was. Right, those were great days. I went on a couple of those.
And there were so many of these places you could walk.
Well, sure. The neighborhood bar was an institution. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely, it was.
Yeah, there were no DWIs in that day. Nobody had a car. They just, But Freddie used to close the place up at 10. He said, I'd say the same thing every night. I made my first million. Last round, guys, go home to your wives. Go home to your families. You'd have those pickled eggs on the bar. And,
pickled eggs.
Guys would eat those things.
Those dried fish. I forget what it was, but of course, the really salty dried fish, and then you'd be thirsty.
And that's right.
Right. Well, maybe time for another beer.
Smelts.
A pony. You serve the pony bottles. 7 ounces or 7.5, whatever they were.
Yeah.
Wow. Those are the days.
Yeah, they were.
And Herc's, great place. Flip Brocky, still my favorite bartender.
Yeah, the next thing you got to put on the internet is where were all the gambling joints?
Well,
you didn't go through that, did you?
I've done it.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
That was a while ago.
I missed that one.
Yeah. Well, he had. Well, of course, he also asked where were the confectionery stores, like it was different.
There's not. They're one and the same. Just depending on how old you were.
Confectionery store / gambling.
Yeah, I remember being in high school, and I had already deduced that if you wanted to place a bet, you'd look in the phone book under a confectionery store. What the heck? Amsterdam was a gambling town. This is, when it was a mill town, nobody's going to get ahead making what they were paying in the mills.
Yeah.
So the only way to get ahead is to get lucky. So they would have runners in all the
floors.
Every floor of every factory had somebody who would collect the numbers every day, and the 50-cent bet would be split 10 ways.
Yeah,
things like that.
You could bet a nickel or a dime.
Yeah, So they'd just be passed around, and eventually, every once in a while, somebody'd win, and you go out and buy new furniture for the living room or something like that. Yeah, that's the way it worked.
I sold them once for.
Okay, statute of limitations is gone. Okay.
I think it was Canales on Market Street, and I was working in Gloversville in the skin mill, and they asked me to go up and sell the tickets, the
Policy slips.
policy tickets. So I did that for probably 2 or 3 weeks. Then my mother lived there, so I stopped to see my mother one day I stopped to see her every day on our way home. So, oh, Jimmy, she says, he says, she didn't know I was selling tickets. She says, there's a big raid down there in Amsterdam. She says, they're picking up people for gambling. And I said, really? She says, yeah. She says, they're selling those tickets, those policy, whatever, she says. So I said, how about that? I come back to Amsterdam, I went down, I said, here, guys. I said, I'm all done.
Now, what was unique about the paper that the numbers were kept on?
It was it was a flame paper.
Flash paper.
It was flash paper.
Flash paper,
Yeah.
You know what flash paper was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And of course, everybody smoked cigarettes in those days. You want to get rid of it, you just...
All gone. Poof.
Yeah. Where do you get flash paper these days? They used to sell in the magic stores. So.
Yeah, you don't need it anymore, Bob. You can just go to any Stewart store and get your number. Unless the state took it over, it's changed.
I know. Yeah, I'm shocked that gambling was going on, and I personally will not play the Powerball unless it hits $100 million.
Got to make it worthwhile, right?
It's got to be worth my while. I mean, it'd be just my luck to hit the Powerball when it's like 23 million or something like that. So I'm not going to humiliate myself like that.
That's right.
And then you'd probably have to split it 3 ways.
Yeah, I missed the last couple.
They're big ones now. They're 80 and something.
Well, yeah, but they were a couple of weeks ago. They were both up over 100 million, and the Powerball was like 250 or something like that. And I played it, but obviously did not win.
There's one tonight. Oh, there's one. I didn't hear. I don't know if I won last night or not. I didn't.
Well, we could find out for you. This is WCSS. You're on the air, and no, there is no gambling going on in the city of Amsterdam.
I bet there isn't.
That's right.
There was a confection store, I don't want to mention the name, at the top of Prospect and Market Street.
Oh, Torciello's.
You didn't mention it.
I didn't want to say, I don't want to mention the name, but he used to collect numbers as well, too. He was quite big into collecting numbers up there. And always around 2 o'clock was drop-off time for all the runners. They would come in one by one and what have you. And this gentleman used to hide this stuff all over. Well, there was a raid in the city. And they went right to his place, and they were tearing his place apart. Where's the numbers? Where's the numbers? I don't have it. And they couldn't get anything on him until one of the runners comes up, and there's the G-man standing outside. The runner comes up and says, the door is locked. He says, yes, it is locked, and it's going to stay locked. He says, you can't do that. I got to drop my numbers off right now. And the G-man says, no problem. He rapped 3 times. They opened the door, and Tom's eyes this gentleman's eyes just looked, and he knew right away he was done. And, I heard that story for years and years, and it just made me snicker and laugh when you guys start talking about that.
Okay, so you were not talking about Benny Torciello. What was the name of the
Rambler Nash place up on, was it Green Street, Bob?
Green Street, yeah.
Who owned that?
Haybrick.
Haybricks. That's where my mother and father got their vehicle.
We missed that one.
Okay.
Okay, no, I just wanted to pass on that thing. And listen, all you gentlemen, and you too, Jim, listen, you guys have a very, very nice Thanksgiving.
We are.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, my friends, bye.
Philip, I think he was talking about one of your relatives. Not, I don't think he was talking about Benny Torsiello. Rest in peace. There used to be. We're going over a little bit, but what the heck, So this is WCSS 1490 in Amsterdam, New York. Take a couple minutes to wrap up. There was a drop in front of my house on Trinity Place. It's a kind of a quiet street, especially when Mr. Klein lived there and it wasn't McDonald's across the street. And every day at like 2 o'clock, one car would be waiting for the other, and then there was a woman in one and a man in the other. First, we thought they were, having some kind of liaison, but it was they just, drop a bag off back and forth, and they both take off in opposite directions. Every day, 2 o'clock. Yeah.
Because the number was posted 3 o'clock, I think. I think it was posted at 3 o'clock.
It's now post time. Yeah.
It's now post time.
The treasury number.
Yeah, because I was going out with a girl who lived down on West Main Street. She lived upstairs and her grandmother lived downstairs. And at 3 o'clock, you'd hear this bang, bang, bang with the broom. And,
I guess we were not talking about Benny Torsiello, but may he rest in peace. But when he passed away, I believe his funeral was in St. Mary's Church. And somebody we both know, Gavin, was one of the altar boys, so it's a contemporary of ours. Okay, and he's going down the aisle with either with a candle or the cross, And as he passes the coffin, he leans over, taps it twice, and says, "Hey, Benny, what was it?" And no harm came of it.
No.
Anyway, Philip, thank you. When you're free again, probably won't be to Christmas vacation. You're probably going away, aren't you? You're going? No?
I don't know.
All right, Christmas vacation. You're welcome. We're on 2 days a week, Mondays and Wednesdays. Anyway, happy Thanksgiving to you and your many families, your extended families. Including the guy we were just not talking about. Well, he's passed away since.
Yeah.
Jimmy. How many you got coming?
Got the new total came in last night is 14.
14. That's not bad. I think
Somebody walking down the street didn't have any place to go, so they said, "Can I come in?"
No, why not?
And naturally, Elaine said yes.
Of course, of course. So we do it.
Yeah.
And Gavin, you and yours.
Thank you.
All right. We'll be back on Monday with leftovers. Until then, I'm Bob Going with Gavin Murdoch, Jim Nicosia, and our special guest, Phillip Tambasco, teen historian. With more, we'll be back with more of the show with no name. This is WCSS 1490 in Amsterdam, New York.